Hey guys, welcome back to As Told by Ray. I'm your girl Ray and this is my YouTube channel. Please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to my channel. Also, don't forget to turn on your post notifications so that you can be notified every single time I post. You want to be notified, sis, so that you can be a part of the Ray fam, aka like the littest fam on YouTube, baby, and that's just on period. So today's video is going to be a little story time / chit chat about my personal struggle with anxiety. This is something that I wanted to talk about because I made this YouTube channel so that I could have an outlet to talk about things with. I'm not saying that I don't have some people in my life who I can talk about, you know, how I feel and what's going on in my head. But I don't ever want to be a bother to like my friends or like anybody in my family. I don't ever want to burden them with my issues. So I'm making this video to pretty much talk through. I know that there are a lot of people out there actually that struggle with anxiety and fear, but this is just my personal story. This video is for anybody who can relate to it. So yeah, that's pretty much what today's video is going to be. So please stay tuned for the video. So we all know that last year was pretty much a wild year for everyone with the pandemic, of course. A lot of people got sick, a lot of people died. Just a lot happened last year. It was a very tumultuous year. Before 2020, I had never really dealt with anxiety. I think that normally I'm a very unbothered person, so like a lot of stuff doesn't really get to me. I don't really like care about too many things, so I guess that played a big part in me not really having anxiety before, because I really didn't care about much. When 2020 came around and it was like March, when everything first started happening, when everything like first was closing down, and you know they was talking about how people was getting sick, and you know the virus was pretty much new. I wasn't really all that worried about it as usual. Like I'm like, oh, like it's like the flu, like it's not gonna stay around that long. That's okay, we'll be back in work by April. When April actually rolled around, at that point people had started dying, and like it was started affecting a lot of people. Numbers were raising every day. At that point I started to get just a little nervous, like because clearly I didn't want to get COVID. No one does. So like I'm worried about it, right? They saying that you could get it by doing just normal everyday shit that you do, hanging out with your friends. Like you can get it doing everything, anything. You get COVID from anywhere. So of course now I'm nervous about it. My mom started working from home, so I would be sitting in her office with her, and like she used to watch the news all day, so I'm sitting in here constantly hearing about people dying and what the cases are, and then stuff going back and forth with Trump. Like I'm constantly hearing about this huge pandemic going on. At that point I believe that watching the news every day is what started me down my struggle with anxiety. It was almost like my mind was hyper focused on just COVID. I was constantly googling what the symptoms were. I was constantly looking at stories about it, people that got it. Like it was like the only thing that my mind could focus on was COVID. So since my mind was so focused on COVID, and like I'm constantly reading about it, and like I know the symptoms and stuff, I feel like because I was now becoming anxious and I knew the symptoms and whatnot, I feel like my brain started to make me believe that I was experiencing symptoms because I was constantly so worried about it. They say like when you're checking for something, or like when you want something to come to you and you're constantly thinking about it, it'll come to you. So me, I'm constantly just convincing myself pretty much that I have these symptoms that now when I look back at it, I had allergies. But to me, the way my mind was working at the time, any little thing that was wrong with me, I had COVID. So of course that did nothing but just, you know, intensify the anxiety that I was already feeling. At this time, I don't know, I never really knew anything about anxiety, so I was never able to like pinpoint it and say, oh, this is what I'm experiencing. I know now, of course, but back then I just knew that I was like pretty much always scared, like in a constant state of being afraid. I was having a thing where I want to say like middle of April, I got tonsillitis, which is something that I get every year. It sucks, it's horrible. But imagine getting tonsillitis while there's a pandemic. Of course, I'm freaked out, I'm scared. I go to patient first. They tell me what it is. They gave me my antibiotic. Even though they done told me that it's tonsillitis, I'm still thinking in my head, bitch, you got COVID. Like, oh my God, you about to die. Like, I feel like this day kind of opened up a whole new can of worms for me that I wasn't expecting to start dealing with. It just like caused more problems than it did helping me do anything. So of course, with my luck, when I get home, I'm all like, okay, take my pill so I can start feeling better, this, that, and the third. The pill was like one of the biggest pills I've ever seen in my life. In normal me fashion, because stuff always happened to me, when I went to swallow the pill, it kind of went down the wrong way and got stuck. Now usually when stuff like that happens, you eat a piece of bread, it'll move down and you keep it pushing, but for some reason it wasn't going away and I could just feel it sitting in my chest. So of course now I'm like what the fuck, like, oh my God, like why didn't it not go down? Like, I'm irritated now. So that happened and I thought to myself, okay, well, it'll eventually pass, like whatever. Later on that night, it's like now late and nothing's going away and my chest starts hurting. I'm talking about, it's a burning pain just in my chest. It hurts so bad. I had to go downstairs and wake my mother up in the middle of the night, and we went to CVS and I was telling the guy what happened and like what all I took and how earlier that day I had been having some heartburn issues, and he told me the pain in my chest could be related to me having heartburn. So he gave me an antacid and sent me home. Now I still had to take the pills that I was taking, so I started taking them like eating applesauce or whatever, but every time I would take the antibiotic, I think it had a negative effect on me and made me feel even more afraid than I was to begin with. So the next day I'm like, my chest hurts so bad. It's like a pain. I can't even sleep. It hurts so bad. I woke up my mom in the middle of the night and she took me to the hospital. Being at the hospital now with COVID going on was like one of the most scariest things I've ever experienced. I'm in an immense amount of pain. My mom can't come in because of COVID, so I'm alone. I now know that I was already anxious, so like it was just a really bad mix. I was in there for a while just for them to come to the conclusion that I was having an allergic reaction to the medicine and that something was wrong with my esophagus. I think they said I had esophagitis. So I got antacid, they gave me some Benadryl, and the antibiotic that I took, which is now what I know was causing my allergic reaction, they gave it to me in a liquid form. So I'm like, okay, like I don't gotta take this pill no more. So that should like shut down the issues with my esophagus and whatnot. I should be cool. The pain in my chest was also like painful in my throat because like they thought I had tonsillitis, which is why I had the antibiotics in the first place. So my throat is sore. It was really hard to eat. I had to eat like real soft, bland stuff. Couldn't have nothing with too much seasoning or anything like that. So I started doing that. I was taking the antibiotics. I was taking Benadryl every like I think 4 hours or something like that. And I was taking the medicine for my heartburn and, you know, for my esophagus and whatnot. So Since I was having an allergic reaction to the antibiotic, them giving it to me in a liquid form probably wasn't the best idea, because you know that just hits your system harder, you know what I'm saying? So I'm having another one of those moments where I feel incredibly off. So I thought to myself, okay, well, I'm gonna go, you know, do what I usually do, and hopefully that'll help me. That really was a bad choice, because after I did that, I came back inside the house, and if anything, it did the opposite of what I was hoping that it would do, and it made my mind start racing. I mean, my mind was going 1,000 miles an hour. My chest pain started to intensify. My heart rate started, I could feel my heart beating out my chest. My left arm, I had a shooting pain all the way down my left arm. It hurt so bad. I just remember like really thinking to myself, like, you're about to die, like you're having a heart attack. Like, I have never experienced something like that. I didn't know what was happening to me. I know now that it was a panic attack, but at the time I really thought I was having a heart attack, and I really thought I was about to die. And that's like one of the most scary things that I've ever had personally happen to me. Without my brother, I don't know what really would have happened to me, because he was just so great. He helped me calm down. Like, he was telling me to just breathe in and out, that I was gonna be okay. And you know, he just really talked me down. After that, I think that caused for my anxiety to shoot up even more, because now I was afraid to have another panic attack. At this point, we're now talking about me having anxiety issues, because after we like really looked up what happened to me, we figured out that it was indeed a panic attack, and we was able to, like, you know, see what causes a panic attack, and anxiety became a topic. So now I know that, okay, I'm dealing with anxiety. My anxiety was like through the roof after that, because I was so scared that I was gonna have another panic attack. After that panic attack experience, I did a virtual thing kind of with my doctor, and I told her pretty much all that was going on with me, described it, and she agreed that I did indeed have anxiety. And because it was so bad to the point where it was starting to like pretty much affect my health, because now I always just felt like, because I was so anxious at everything, I really wasn't able to be living my life. So because it was affecting my everyday life, she prescribed me some anxiety meds, and you know, I was able to start taking those, and for a while that kind of had my anxiety in check. I would still have like chest pains, like even now from that panic attack, I still be having chest pains. My chest hurts every day and never stops hurting. It hurts all the time. But other than that, like, I was cool for a couple months. Later on in the year, I started having really bad anxiety again. I try not to take like the medicine all the time, because I kind of want to get better on my own. But it's almost like, because I guess I don't know what triggers me to be anxious, I don't know what to stay away from, so that I don't have to constantly be trying to take medicine because I'm anxious all the time, if that makes sense. So fast forwarding to now, I'm better than what I was in April. Like, I definitely think that my anxiety is just a little bit more tame than what it used to be. I don't really take medicine all the time. I don't usually take it unless I feel like, you know, I'm really anxious. So then I'll go ahead and take it. But the reason I don't say that I have overcome my anxiety or that I found the way to cope is because I haven't. I don't know what my triggers are. So I feel like until I can figure out what my triggers are and stop those triggers in my life, I'll never be able to overcome my anxiety. It's something that I struggle with every day, if I'm gonna be quite honest. I really don't talk about it as much as I did like in the beginning, because I don't be wanting to, like I said in the beginning, I don't be wanting to bother people with my little anxiety drama when there's so much stuff going on in the world and all I have over here is some little anxiety. So this is for the people that are dealing with really intense anxiety during these times. How were you able to figure out your triggers? I feel like a lot of people will suffer with anxiety, so there has to be someone out there who can relate or identify with what I'm saying. I'm taking it day by day, trying to get better. I'm trying to get back to doing stuff that I like to do. So yeah, with that being said, that was the video. I know that it was kind of rambling and I kind of talked a lot about unnecessary stuff, but I hope that whoever watches this video is able to see where I'm coming from. I'm gonna continue to, you know, try to cope with it the best that I know how. And yeah, if you want me to do more topics like this where I kind of just get on here and talk topics about anxiety, anything, please let me know down below. With that being said, I'll see y'all in the next one. Peace.